celebrity and star. Now, why would he do this? To me, is central to all of this, and it was answered very early on by Johnny Depp when he took the stand. Take a close listen.
It just kept getting bigger and bigger. So it was my responsibility, I felt, to not only attempt to clear my name for the sake of, well, for many reasons, but I wanted to clear my children of this horrid thing that they were having to read about their father which was untrue.
Wanted to clear his name and clear the air about these allegations that were not true because, you know, he never got to tell his story. We never heard his story. We never really paid attention. And think about what has happened over the last 2 days. Everyone is paying attention. Try to go online and not see someone talking about this case. Flick around the TV when he's on the stand. Or actually, just keep it on court TV. But if you happen to, during a commercial, flick around, everybody's covering this. Everybody's watching and listening to Johnny Depp tell his story. Isn't that what this was all about? To begin with. To give his side of what happened in this broken relationship. And to say, listen, I am not Harvey Weinstein. I'm not one of those guys. I was actually a victim in all of this. We had a horrific relationship, but I'm not that guy. Don't label me as a domestic abuser. That's a lie. There was something else happening in this relationship. So he filed this civil suit, and this is a civil case, and we don't cover a lot of civil cases on Court TV. One of the reasons is most civil cases settle. They settle. There is no verdict, there is no ending. They come to some secret settlement and they just go away, and you're like, well, what just happened? So tonight, I was thinking about this case, and I was thinking about why he brought it, why he told us he brought it, and now over the course of 2 days, he's had the opportunity, unlike any other witness in any other case I've ever seen, to just talk and talk and talk. Hours of him telling his story with everyone finally listening. Has he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish? Is it possible that after he gets off the witness stand, he could tell his lawyers, let's just get out of here. I don't want her money, I told my story. Is that possible? Or does he need a verdict? Does he really need a verdict here? Does he really think he's going to get money from Amber Heard? Or is this about something else? Or am I missing the boat here, so to speak? Let me bring in our think tank. They've got a lot of experience. Joining us tonight in Atlanta, Georgia, criminal defense attorney Eklund Mercy. In Los Angeles, California, former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani is with us. And in Phoenix, Arizona, the attorney who represented Jodi Arias and the author of the book series Trapped with Miss Arias, which you need to read, Kirk Nurmi is with us. Great to see everyone tonight. Does anyone think this is possible? That after he finally had a chance to tell his story and the world was listening today, that maybe he'll just walk away from this? Eklund, what do you think?
I think that's between him and his therapist. I think that he's gone so far. We've gotten this far. Might as well see what happens. I think that he's waited so long. It's for his children, and I think that he actually needs that seal of approval that, hey, I've been understood and I will be vindicated. It's not about the money. It's about getting your point across and being proven that you were right. You know, the defense for a defamation case is the truth. So that's why he's doing it.
Nima, is there any chance that Johnny Depp could just walk away now that he has told his story and we all heard it?
It's possible. I mean, it's completely up to him to dismiss the case. He's the civil plaintiff. But I don't think it happens, Vinny. I think he needs the verdict. And the reason he needs the verdict is what happened in the UK. He lost that case. He has to win this one. And some of it is to clear his name, but a lot of it is to resurrect his career. He's not touchable here in Hollywood unless he wins this case. No one's going to go near him in today's woke climate, Vinny.
Kirk Nurmi, what does your gut tell you here? You know, he told us that he wants to clear his name. Does he need these 7 people from Fairfax County, Virginia, to make it official? Or do you think him having the opportunity to tell his story with cameras rolling, with the world watching, could be enough for him to say, look, this is, now you know what really happened?
Vinny, I think you can get a lot of redemption by coming out and telling the truth, even if that comes at a great personal expense, in this case, having his personal life exposed. But he now is saying to the world, I want to be judged on the truth of who I am, and I'm willing to open myself up in order to face it, and face that kind of scrutiny in order to do that. Now, that in and of itself is a victory. But will that mean he is going to drop this case? I doubt it. And I don't think it's for the reasons that Nima comes up with, because I believe that he has redeemed himself in the court of public opinion. But I think following through with this case, or pulling out of this case now before completing this case, would alter that perception. Now, as he moves forward, to me, I think regardless of the outcome, he has redeemed himself in the court of public opinion, and that is what will reconnect him to Hollywood.
You know, at the end of the day today, we got a little piece of the beginning of the cross-examination, and we saw the dynamic. Let's take a look.
A lot of chance to talk, and I'm trying to be respectful of the court's time and the jury's time. So I'm going to ask you that question again, because I think it's a pretty simple yes or no question, which is,
you'd like it to be, sir. Nothing simple in this case.
Other than mentioning the fact of abuse accusations made 2 years prior, this opinion piece does not contain any details of your time together. Yes or no?
It contains fragments.
Okay, Nima, let me ask you, where do you think the defense is going to go at this point? Is their case going to be about the legal defense to defamation? Is that going to be the focus, that it's just this Washington Post article and there's no details in there? And Johnny Depp isn't named. It's 2 years after, so it doesn't involve any of the things that happened before. Or do you think they're going to spend time to try to basically prosecute Johnny Depp as an abuser?
Vinny, it's going to be both. They're going to take this straight on in the legal merits, and this is what they're going to do. Look, it doesn't matter if Amber Heard was the instigator. This isn't a self-defense case. It's not a criminal case. She could be both the perpetrator and the victim of domestic violence. And if the jurors are following the jury instructions in this case, and they realize this is a toxic, volatile, violent relationship where even their own therapist said,
but is that fair? Is that fair? Because I was thinking about this issue today, and I'm going to throw it to you, Nima, then everybody else jump in on it, because I really want to hear your opinions of it. Are you really like a victim, a survivor of domestic violence? Are you a domestic violence victim if it's mutual and at times you're instigating the conflict? Is that the way we as the public perceive someone when they come forward and say, yes, I'm a victim of domestic violence? Do we really think that is someone being genuine in making that assertion? If, and again, this is if, you know, what the jury believes, if you are in a relationship where it's mutual, if you're in a relationship where you're giving as good as you're getting, if you're in a relationship where you're instigating the fights and the violence, should you truly be considered a survivor and a victim of domestic violence? Not legal technicality, but in the true spirit of what she was saying in that Washington Post op-ed.
Well, look, there's the spirit and there's the law. And I'm a current civil attorney, the only one on this panel. And as a matter of law, she can be a victim and a perpetrator. Yeah, maybe that's not what folks want to hear, but that's how you got to defend the case if you're Amber Heard. This isn't a self-defense case. This isn't a stand your ground case. This isn't like any of the other cases we cover on Court TV, and we've done this for years. This is A simple question. Was Amber Heard the victim of domestic violence? And the fact that she testified at her deposition, and I know she'll testify, that she instigated a lot of these fights, that does not change the analysis. Was that statement defamatory or not? That's really what this case is about, Vinnie.
Go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, you know, Vinnie, that is a really tough. It's a really tough question to address. You know, when we talk about that line of perpetrator versus victim, right? When we hear these words like mutual combatant. But one of the things that's going to be interesting as this thing plays out is we saw the jury connect to Mr. Depp, I think, and he talks about the injuries to his finger, and the jury's laughing along with him in the hearsay objection, and they've heard the voice of Amber Heard talk about hitting him, and oh, I didn't hit you this certain way. Right now, she's the only one who's properly being cast as an abuser. The Heard team is going to have to come up with a lot of evidence to switch that playing field, both in a legal sense and in the court of public opinion.
Go ahead, Eklund.
And I just think that she has to clean it up. That I don't, just based on the platform that she built off of the op-ed and how she became like a champion for domestic violence survivors, that she can't afford to also be like the one to instigate, to really share stories with women who, you know, didn't gain their power, who weren't voluntarily in certain situations, to and to like literally show that you empathize with them, to finally find out that a lot of the times you instigated it and that you made somebody else a victim. So I think that she has to clean it up. There is no way around it. It's not only about the court of the actual court, but for her, it's the court of public opinion, because that's where she started to play out. That's why he's there, is because she played it out in the court of public opinion. So although it's not criminal, it's civil, I think she has a lot more at stake. And I think at this point, her attorneys are really trying to make sure that she doesn't get, I think that they are trying to clean it up in the sense of, let's focus on how much money, let's not make her lose a lot of money by cleaning it up, by focusing really just on the law. But her career-wise and how she really presented to the world is going to be damaged if she doesn't do a really bang-up job on both ends.
I want you to take a listen here to Johnny Depp describing an alleged headbutting incident. There's a tissue. Is there blood? What exactly is going on here? Another fascinating part of the testimony from today.
That was when she accused me of headbutting her, of giving her a headbutt and breaking her nose. But there was no blood. There was no. I didn't hit her nose. If there was anything at all, it was a bump of. Well, I'm trying to restrain her. She's trying to get out of it. There's going to be some contact here and there, accidental contact, but not a headbutt. And she wouldn't let me see anything. And so I just tried to calm the situation as best I could. All the while, I was waiting for her to dispense with that Kleenex because I didn't trust it. And so I waited, and when she dropped it into the wastebasket in her bathroom, or in our bathroom, and left the room, went somewhere downstairs, I think, I don't know. And then I pulled the Kleenex out of the trash bin, and I inspected it pretty closely and realized that it was nail polish.
Nima, I was fixated on her reaction during that part of the testimony, and I'm trying to figure out what is going on and what that all means.
Well, they both have to play the role, and they're actors, Vinnie.
Do you think she was acting there?
I think that Amber Heard wants to jump out of her chair and strangle Johnny Depp, but she doesn't want to come across as a volatile, toxic ex-wife. She has to play that role. And just like Johnny Depp is doing an amazing job of playing the victim in this case, she's going to do the same thing when she gets on the stand and her witnesses come and testify. I mean, these are two of the best witnesses. I mean, Johnny has testified very well. We've seen Amber in deposition. I mean, that I've ever seen in a courtroom in any case in my life. I think that she is keeping it together because she has to in front of this jury. How can you not get enraged when your ex-husband is telling the world that you're lying about your nose being broken?
She looks like she's about to cry, Eklund.
I don't see that. I personally, again, I don't do family law anymore because of this specific reason. But what I've seen is a lot of times when you see exes testify and having to watch your ex testify in court, you have the same like just zoned out look. So it's, you know, they just zone out. And a lot of times as attorneys, just making sure like, hey, you pick a spot on the wall, you focus on that, you avoid eye contact just in order to keep your emotions at check. And a lot of the times they're not even paying attention because they can't. So you don't know what her capacity is. She's not the attorney. She's probably checked out.
This is so personal, what's happening in the courtroom, Kirk. And you know, criminal cases we often cover, mostly cover here on Court TV. Obviously, sometimes very personal as well. But this, you have both parties that are there, and this has to be absolute torture to relive all these horrible moments in your relationship that just imploded.
Yeah, you know, oftentimes there is this kind of drama that doesn't just exist in family law, but it exists in criminal law as well. When we have relationships of this nature, these toxic relationships that fester and boil into something that becomes criminal, in this case, thankfully, only civil. But, you know, I think I want to follow up on something Nima said, you know, her wanting to jump out of his seat and strangle Johnny Depp. What does that say? I mean, that just speaks so much volume of her ability as an abuser, right? And I saw her sitting there looking like ready to cry because she was being exposed. She was casting herself as a victim of domestic violence, standing outside the courtroom of England as a bastion of the Me Too movement, and it's all falling apart because when these details come out, her story is starting to fall apart as well.
Okay, when we come back, speaking of Amber Heard's story, what might her testimony look like and sound like? And this is a hard act to follow, right? And I say act, not meaning that he's acting on the stand, but it's difficult to follow Johnny Depp in the way he told these stories with such detail, vivid images that he created for this jury. Well, how is she going to handle that? We'll break it down with our think tank when we return.
He was about to push my sister down the stairs. She was attempting to break us up. I am protective over my baby sister. When he laid hands on her, I don't know what I did, but I know I jumped in between the actions that I saw could lead to a fatal injury to my sister. She was standing on the top of a flight of stairs, and she has never hurt anyone in her life, and she does not deserve to be pushed down the flight of stairs. And it looked like she was about to be. And I would have done what anybody who has a child or a sister would have done. I acted defensively in her life. I saw her standing on top of a flight of stairs and trying to interrupt a fight in between him and I. I don't know what part of my body I put in between me and him and her. But I would have done anything. I would have done anything to prevent her from being pushed down a flight of stairs.
That was Amber Heard in a deposition from several years ago talking about the incident at the top of the stairs. Well, Johnny Depp today inside the courtroom gave his version of that same incident. Let's take a listen.
Mr. Depp, could you please explain to the jury the circumstances that led to you having the bruise that's reflected in this photograph?
Again, there was another confrontation, another confrontation, another argument about something or other, and we were in penthouse 5 area, which was where Ms. Heard had her office at the top of the stairs. And so the stairs came down, and then there was a landing, and then another set of stairs went down the opposite direction. This took place on the landing, where she was coming out, trying to get to me, trying to hit me, trying to do anything she could. And then Whitney, her sister, was there, who stepped in the way. And interesting thing now is that Whitney stepped in front of Amber and was facing Amber to stop Amber. And when she was in between us, Amber snuck in she got the roundhouse in and just nailed me on the cheekbone.
Two versions of one incident. Let's bring back in the think tank, Kirk Nermi. Let me ask you, listening to those two different accounts, which one sounds more plausible, more credible?
I think Johnny Depp's at this point in time. I mean, the way he told it, he was open and vulnerable and honest throughout the stand. He was methodical. He connected to that jury, and that makes more sense. It doesn't make any sense to me why Johnny Depp would push Whitney down the stairs. And we saw when Amber Heard was giving in this deposition, she was fierce, she was leaning forward, she was really getting into it, almost trying to convince people that this was what happened. And Mr. Depp, on the other hand, was simply, it appeared, relaying the incident. So right now, in terms of believability, my heart goes with Mr. Depp.
Let's go to another incident. This is the May 21st, 2016 incident. This is another big one. Here's Johnny Depp describing what he says happened.
It was a tough couple of days, and I really didn't feel like I deserved that kind of treatment. And I went over. And I said, let me talk to her. I grabbed the phone and I said to Io, you can have her now. She's yours. She's all yours. Right? And then I took the phone and I just banged like that onto that side of the couch was 8 feet long. The other side of the couch was about 6 feet long. I flopped it onto the couch, and I was walking towards the kitchen to exit, and then suddenly Rocky Pennington ran in to the penthouse and started, leave her alone, Johnny, leave her alone. And I was by the refrigerator at this point. I was 20 feet away.
Where was Miss Heard at that time?
She was still sitting on the couch. And that's when the screaming, the screaming started with again, I'm 20 feet away. She's still got Io on the phone. She's got Rocky there. Stop hitting me, Johnny, she's screaming. In her best freaked out, upset voice, high-pitched. Stop hitting me, stop hitting me. Jerry Judge and Sean Bett entered the room. And as they entered the room, and she was quite surprised to see them, she said, "That's the last time you'll ever hit me. That's the last time you'll ever do that to me." And again, I'm a good 20 feet away by the fridge. And then Jerry said, "Boss, I think we should just leave." And then we left.
So that's Johnny Depp's version. Let me put on the screen from Johnny Depp's complaint here. It sort of outlines the allegations that have been made about that incident by Amber Heard. Ms. Heard, according to Johnny Depp and his complaint, falsely began yelling, "Stop hitting me, Johnny." The interaction culminated with Ms. Heard, allegedly, again by Johnny Depp, making false allegations that Mr. Depp struck her with a cell phone, hit her, and destroyed the penthouse. This is one of those key interactions where Johnny Depp is saying this is a big lie. Eklund Mercy, how does Amber Heard prepare to tell this story? How do you think she approaches telling this story?
I don't know, because according to Mr. Depp, she went full Gone Girl. So I don't know how you do it without seeming more manipulative than he actually is painting her out to be. A lot of the time, sometimes a way complainants kind of mess up their case is by putting too much of the puzzles together. You know, sometimes you're making too much of the story. And this time you can see that he's just leading a little breadcrumb of, I think she's manipulative, I think she's narcissistic, I think you should believe me, instead of like really just like forcing his narrative on the jury. So I think that he's doing a really good job. So I am curious to see how the defense is going to, you know, combat that, because it's beautifully done. It's been beautifully done.
Nima, this is crucial, right, to the defense, that truth is a defense. So she's got to come forward and tell this story. How does she prepare for that? How does it come across? What's the approach?
The same way she prepared for the UK case, which she won, and a judge found that it was substantially true that Johnny Depp was a wife beater. And guess what? Johnny Depp appealed and he lost there. Now, what the Johnny Depp super fans don't really appreciate is that Amber Heard is also going to be an amazing witness. Depp has been phenomenal so far, but she is going to come on. We're in only week 2 of a 6-week trial, and mark my words, Vinnie, when we're discussing her testimony, she's going to get on the stand and she's going to kill it. And none of us were there. But what Johnny Depp wants this jury to believe is that this whole story was completely fabricated. She's on the phone with a friend and she's just completely making up allegations that he's hitting her and striking her. Is that believable? Possibly. Anything's possible. But I think she's going to do a good job explaining all of this when she takes the stand.
Okay, when we come back, more from inside the courtroom. We'll also take you on the docket, another really fascinating trial that we're tracking here on Court TV. We'll give you a little sneak preview of that. Don't go anywhere.
Don't delay. Call our helpline now.
And when I knelt down on my hands and knees to look at her foot to see the injury, she kicked the bathroom door into my head. Yeah, she kicked the bathroom door into my head, and I was completely taken aback by such a corrosive, horrific move. So I stood up, and I believe I stood up and at this point, the door was open. I stood up and I said, I think I said, what the was that? What the was that? And the next move was just a bang, and just she clocked me in the jaw. And that was another shocker.
What a day inside the courtroom in Fairfax County, Virginia. Of course, we're continuing our coverage tomorrow. He'll be cross-examined. But while you're here, I wanted to tell you about another big case that we are tracking here on Court TV coming up this summer. It's the case of Sheila Keene Warner, the so-called killer clown trial. Here's a preview.
30 years ago, a person dressed as a clown, holding flowers and balloons, rang the doorbell at Marlene Warren's home. But when Marlene answered, the clown shot her to death.
It was one of the worst days of my life.
Advanced DNA testing led authorities to Sheila Keene Warren. The defendant ended up marrying the victim's husband.
She wanted to marry him. She had to get rid of his wife.
This is going to be a riveting case, pairing a classic lover's triangle with modern forensics.
It's like a Lifetime movie plot.
We're talking about 30 years ago. You know, memories fade, evidence fade.
They can take the lack of evidence and create reasonable doubt.
I have seen convictions in cases, even though there's no murder weapon or no body.
From my knowledge of the case, she's innocent.
I mean, this is an unreal case. It's unreal, but it's happening June 3rd, trial day, Florida versus Sheila Keene Warren, the killer clown trial, right here on your front row seat to justice. But when we come back, we've got a 13th juror question asking you how you think Johnny Depp severed his finger. As we go to break, take a listen to what Johnny Depp testified to today.
They were worried about getting my finger clean, so they tried doing that at Malcolm's, and then the keeper said, no, we got to get to emergency room, and we got to get hold of the tip of his finger. So we went to the emergency room. The doctor asked me what happened, and I lied to him. I said that I had smashed it in these large accordion doors, that it got caught in the accordion doors.
Why would you lie about that?
I lied because I didn't feel, I didn't want to disclose that it was what it was. I didn't want to disclose that it had been, I didn't want to disclose that it had been misheard, that it had thrown a vodka bottle at me and then took my finger off. I didn't want to get her in trouble. Then she came down to the bar and found me there. And of course started screaming, oh, you're drinking again, yeah, the monster and all that. So she reached, she walked up to me and reached and grabbed the bottle of vodka, and then just kind of stood back and then hurled it at me. And it just went right past my head and smashed behind me. So I stood up and I walked behind the bar, and there was a larger bottle of vodka, the kind with the handle, you know, on it. I grabbed that and I went and I sat in my seat again. I opened the bottle and I poured myself a shot and drank it. Ms. Heard was flinging insults left, right, and center, and she then grabbed that bottle and threw that at me. She threw the large bottle, and it made contact and shattered everywhere. And I honestly didn't feel the pain at first at all. I felt no pain whatsoever. What I felt was, I felt heat. I felt heat, and I felt as if something were dripping down my hand, you know. And then I looked down and realized that the tip of my finger had been severed, and I was looking directly at my bones.
All right, that's Johnny Depp's version of how his finger was severed. He told the folks at the emergency room something that he said was a lie. They got caught in the door. Amber Heard and her team have a whole different version, that he was like smashing a cell phone and he cut it off himself. So I asked you, how do you think Johnny Depp lost his finger? We begin with our 13th juror comment of the day, coming from Teresa. When Johnny was talking about when the tip of his finger was severed, Amber looked like she was going to start crying, like, I can't believe I did this to the person I supposedly love. I believe Johnny after hearing his testimony. Nima Romani, do you believe Johnny? This is an important issue.
Oh, it's a very important issue. I mean, this severed finger resulted in 3 surgeries and an infection. So I'm not going to say whether I believe Johnny until I hear what Amber has to say. I'm not going to jump to conclusions, because Johnny told a completely different story to the ER, to his personal doctor, Dr. Kipper. He said he cut himself with a knife. Even told a slightly altered version today. So I need to hear all the evidence before I jump to conclusions. I'm going to admit that Johnny presented well today, but it's too premature to say he's telling the truth. We got to give Amber Heard her chance.
All right, Joseph tonight, not on Team Johnny, by the way. Dude's an actor. He makes his money from pretending. He's a liar. Kirk Nurmi, what do you think about this story of the severed finger?
I got to disagree with Joseph. I'm like a lot of people. I found Johnny Depp to be very genuine, very honest, and I could almost, when he told this story, I could picture the scene, if you will. I could see the bottles being thrown. I could see the screaming, the yelling. And, you know, to Nima's point, though, and I'm going to contradict it, is that victims of domestic violence lie all the time to their doctors and give other alternative explanations for their injury. So, yes, we can listen to Miss Heard's story, but the cell phone story makes way less sense than it does this story that just comes with great imagery and seems to come from a genuine place of truth.
Hosanna tonight should have sued her for the finger, should have pressed charges like she did. Proof he didn't want to escalate things. He just wants peace for himself and his kids. Eckler Mercy, what about that? You know, the fact that she went for a protective order, he never did.
Yeah, well, as a criminal defense attorney, we see this often. We see the actual, the actual victim actually try to get peace, but, we see the offender actually get the TPO to get their stories out of the way to really make it harder for the victim to get some peace. It happens often, unfortunately, especially in divorce cases. It's we see it as a way of, one side try to get, the upper hand on the other side. Let me just already put out there that there's something violent that's happening and, go on from there. And we also have a man. We have a man who's an actor. This is Captain Jack Sparrow. This is Donnie Brasco. This is Edward Scissorhands. This is a manly man. This is, he makes movies, he shows his abs, he is doing all of this. And to have the story and know you know, you tell the wrong person, it could be leaked on the media and be transferred and translated into a lot of things. I can see why he wouldn't tell the truth to the hospital. I can see why, you know, you'll be afraid. And then again, you don't know if you're going to go back together with this person. A lot of victims don't tell the truth because they don't know if they're going to reconcile.
I think at this point, I think we're pretty safe saying these two are not getting back together. Final comment tonight from Brenda. Vinnie, I think one of the reasons Johnny filed the suit is this is the only way to make Heard sit and listen. How about that, Nima? We have about 10 seconds.
Come on, she's a victim of domestic violence. I mean, for someone to, you know, attack her when Johnny's the one who initiated all this, that's shameful.
And I'm shocked, and I didn't see it in any of the comments, but no one said that it's more likely Edward Scissorhands cut off his own finger. Okay. Ekla Mercy, Nima Rahmani, Kirk Nurmi, awesome as always. We'll see you again real soon. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
4.
Lock it in tomorrow. Cross-examination of Johnny Depp starting in the morning. Court TV, gavel-to-gavel coverage. Before we go, I have a photo I need to show you. This is Alvaro Quintana, missing since March 6th out of Phoenix, Arizona. He's only 14 years old. If you see Alvaro, please call 911, 1-800-THE-LOST. We need to get Alvaro home where he belongs. That's it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Vinnie Politan. Don't forget, kids,